The next slide is I've broken down the Heiligenstadt Testament. And here, from Beethoven wrote it out. It was written out both as started out as a suicide note, possibly, also a will and instructions to his brother as to what to do with his things and how to take care of other family members. And was also a diary entry that he poured out his feelings. And in it, to look at it in this way as a literary critique, we see that he's expressing, the deafness is stopping his great desire to compose. And out of this utter stopping of everything that he has lived for and trained for his entire life, we reach despair. And rather than giving up, though, Beethoven being Beethoven, a conflict ensues, leading to the solution, this idea that art itself would be the thing that would save him. And looking at the positive side of things, we've got to wonder, would Beethoven have created what he did create if he'd had his sense of hearing? You know, in a way, when you're in your dreams, everything is unlimited to you. If you need to fly in a dream, you can fly. Things can go in crazy ways in a dream. Maybe, possibly, because Beethoven was deaf and he was never tied to the reality of performing or hearing these things, maybe it freed up his mind. He at least thought that out of his desire and the freedom that being deaf gave him in that, it led to serenity, and it's an acceptance of this, and therefore a new space in which to create. And out of that comes his triumph and joy. And I would like to now, next slide, go and show the same type of graphic with the sonata form. Sonata form coming out of, actually from Mozart and Haydn, as popularized by Marx in the middle of the 19th century. And a sonata form is a way of dealing with characters, themes, issues, or problems in music. And it's made up of these sections: the exposition, development, recapitulation, which you see in the top, and an optional ending part, the coda. And in the exposition, we expose our ideas or our themes. And so we will generally have a theme 1 in the tonic, which is the home key, and some contrasting theme or idea in a different key. Often, if theme 1 is a happy thing in major key that's legato and with long note values, then theme 2 is going to be in a minor key. It's going to be highly articulated. It might be jumpy. It might be fast. In some way, it's going to contrast the ideas presented in theme 1. And they end, and we go into this development section wherein the themes are developed, which means that theme 1 or 2 or both are chopped up, recombined, sometimes combined with each other, and they travel to places by the way of modulation. They change keys, and the composer shows his or her craftsmanship by showing what he can do to these themes, and yet they would still be recognizable when they come back together. And the spot where they come back together is at the end of the development, which I have abbreviated the retrans, which is the retransition, a spot, that climax of all the tension that is built up by taking theme 1 or theme 2 and moving them through different keys and different ways of treating them and handling them. It all ends up in this big, exciting moment of the retransition to lead back to the ending, which is the recapitulation, where everything comes back together in its place. And we see theme 1 is back in the home key, and it's played out just like it was in the beginning. But now usually we see theme 2 has had a change of heart, and it has taken on some aspect of theme 1. Usually it takes on the home key, which is very helpful for having the sonata, the piece, end in the home key. And if it's been a big piece or it's been a very stormy relationship between the two themes, they would add on this optional coda, always in tonic. And early music styles, the coda could be very short. Later, as styles progress, especially through towards the end of the 19th century, a lot of the actual musical material will be loaded into this coda section to really extend out the thoughts or dissipate energy. Now, in the next slide, I have taken the sonata form, and just to show you a graphical way of looking at it, or how it's used probably more than anywhere else, in a theatrical, what I call this theatrical version of a sonata form. And a great number of TV shows, movies are set up like this, and I'll lay it out and see if you agree. In which case, theme one now is the hero. The hero is at home, and there is some kind of an opposite, not at home. Now, if it's a romantic comedy, the hero might be a young guy. He's kind of scruffy. He's got long hair. He's out running around his dogs. He works with his hands. And there is a confrontation with the other part of the movie, which would be the female character. She will be a type A personality in a power suit driving a Mercedes convertible on her way to a meeting where she's a lawyer, and she'll barely miss hitting the dog, and this will set up the conflict. And through this, we see these two opposites, how they might move through the movie, and how are they ever going to come together at the end. If it's an action show or a drama or a fantasy program, you will have the little Frodo, who's in his little hometown, opposed by Darth Vader, who's opposite in every other way and in a different place. And then we set up this conflict. There's a ring that's got to be returned. In some way, there's got to be some way for the characters to go travel. Instead of changing keys, we now change scenes in the development, and we have a lot of action. And through this various tests that are given to them in different places and different scenery as they are on their quest, whatever it is, we find out that the characters find out about themselves. And we find that maybe the little Frodo is not so scared. He's actually very brave. Or the power lawyer type A woman is not so tough. She's got a soft side to her also. This always winds up, whatever the show is, in the cliffhanger, which often enough, because many people do have a fear of heights, the main characters are in some kind of a thing, hanging from a helicopter, top of a mountain, maybe it's a giant catwalk, and they're fighting with swords made of lasers, and down below there's thousands of feet of empty space to fall into, and this is the cliffhanger. If this is a TV show, you will find that you've got 30 minutes, you'll have it broken into 3 chunks. You put a commercial at the end of the conflict, and you put a commercial right at the end of the cliffhanger. That way you know the people are going to come back for the rest of the show. And at the last third of the movie or the show, the hero gets back home. Opposite is resolved somehow. If it's a romantic comedy, you'll see a scene, oh, there's children now. Or the bad guy is defeated, the spell is broken, and all the stuff that was black ice is suddenly green plants again. However it goes. And if it's been a large, long, epic movie, you need a coda. You need some little bit of comic relief at the end. The two robots have a comedic moment together. Or they set up some way where there's going to be another Batman movie is going to come out. Some way they put that hook in there.